Okay, just a minute. We're getting all the technical stuff. So it's really hard for me to do this because the production value isn't quite what I'm used to. We're actually in a travel trailer out in the woods. We were camping for came upon just extended we would stay out here. So welcome everybody to our live stream for taking off, and hopefully the internet is that I've got connected is fast enough to do this. I'll take a look here and see what you got going. So actually a lot of people. Okay, so a lot of people are on. Good. So you kind of see this and all that kind of stuff. Real quick, let's get the Corona stuff out of the way and let's talk about some how it affects aviation. And last Sunday, which was what, 3 days ago, I would have laid money down that they would have grounded all commercial, Part 121 flying for domestic. And I was a little bit worried about them putting closing the airspace and putting a big TFR up, but that hasn't happened. If anything, it's been backed away from some. So one of the questions that some of my friends have asked the most is, I wonder if we can still go fly. And absolutely, get in your plane and go fly. I think Christy did that this weekend, and we're going to have Christy on in just a few minutes, and you can ask her that. Another thing that people talk about with the coronavirus is how it will affect people like Christy who are in training, or people who want to become a pilot. For the last 5 years, we've been heading into a pretty big pilot shortage. And so there's a lot of people worried that with the trouble with the airlines and everything else, that, that now we'll be back to the days where there was no pilot shortage and there were too many pilots. And I don't think that's the case. I was talking to an insider who's a senior level Part 121 pilot, captain that's been there for many, many years. And with the airlines, they're offering quick furloughs, and they're actually getting rid of a lot of pilots as they can right now. And as we recover from this virus, I wouldn't be surprised as we recover that there'll be a lot less pilots at the end of this crisis than there were before. And if anything, I think that we'll find that we have a lot more need for pilots. So I think for all of you guys that were wanting to become, airline pilots or Part 121 pilots, I think you're in good shape. Just stay the course. It may take a little bit longer, but I think you're going to be fine. And again, we can talk to Christy about that in a minute. So I'm not looking at the comments yet, but I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can bring on Christy. Actually, I may try to bring on both Christy and Brian. Let's see if it works here. Yeah, my technology here isn't as good as I would have liked. Hang on just a second. All right, so we're going to try to get this going. And okay, so let me just go to these as I'm working out this. Yeah, Tamara's telling all her students not to stop now. You need to catch up. I agree. People saying rock your wings, Brian. We're going to have Brian on. So I want to tell you guys that should be a lot of fun here in a minute. So I am trying to Facebook Messenger in with Christy and Brian, and my wonderful internet, which is really, really bad out here in the sticks, is having trouble with it. So we will see what we can do. Let me go here. This should fix it, maybe. Okay. So citation, you're an expat living in the Philippines. You're saying it's all dead. Is it dead just from, I say natural causes, but is it the government shutting down in the Philippines, or is it just there's no commercial traffic, the businesses just shut down? Because to me, there's a big difference between American Airlines just shrinking down and only doing 10% of their flights versus the government coming in and saying, you can't fly. And to me, that's a big difference. And right now, we're still alive with commercial flight still out there. It's still a possibility. So let us know about that. And we got somebody from Argentina. Let us know how it's going in your country, because I mean, this is a global thing that we are all facing, and as an aviation community, you know, I think it's really kind of cool to be able to talk to other people in other countries. So I really appreciate it. And somebody from Italy too talking right now. I would love to hear what's going on in Italy. I know that you guys got hit after China the hardest, so you know, our thoughts and prayers with you guys. I'm guessing nobody's flying anywhere in Italy. So, anyway, yeah, and so airspace is completely shut down, I guess, in the Philippines. All right, let's try to bring in now Brian and Christy. So we'll see if we get them up here real quick here. Let's call them both, and let's see what happens. Again, really low tech. I'm a little bit nervous and worried about this, but we'll just see how it goes. So, is it calling? Is it loading? Let's see. All right, in the meantime, while it's coming up, so all the major carriers have decided to ground. Okay. Yeah, Nathan, I agree. Bringing Joe Casey on is something when we shot our last round of In the Hangars, we shot another one with Joe, and so that's going to be posting. So we'll have another Joe Casey video pretty quick here. So Christy and Brian, you guys need to make sure that you guys enable your cameras. Maybe I need to enable mine. So we'll see if it is. Yeah, steam gauge tomorrow, that's for sure. Oh, there's somebody. So we'll go full screen here, and we'll see how that's going to do. Yeah, I hate that there's no lighting or anything. This is so hard for me to do, being a video professional. This is driving me crazy just looking at this image on the screen. I feel like we need to turn on some more lights. So while I'm still trying to get, I don't hear, is that Brian or Christy that's on? I do not hear you guys, but let me see if I can add. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's just my my computer being horrible. Okay, I'm gonna step out for just a second. There's a little bit more lighting. Okay. All right. This thing's making a lot of noise, but not working. In the meantime, while it works, or while it's trying to work. Oh, that's me. That's why I don't see anything. Well, we're getting closer. Well, there's the two I want to add, but yeah, I'm sorry guys. I'll get this going pretty quick here. Okay, let me try Brian. And we'll try Ring. We actually tested this a little bit earlier and it actually worked. So, sorry for this, guys. It's ringing like crazy. Yeah. Okay, well, all right. Okay, so we'll stop that for a minute. And, all right, so guys, feel free again to post your questions. Yeah, they're not just into me. Well, if you call me there, let's see if I accept it here. Accept. Guess I could always do my phone. Yeah, and then it's all over the place. How about that? That looks great, doesn't it? See, I think it's my connection. My internet connection is so bad that that's what I think the problem is. See, it's trying to connect. There. Okay. So we'll have Brian sideways because that's pretty normal for Brian. That's a pretty normal thing.
Ever made.
I told you.
Yeah, this is going to be the best video ever, right? Oh gosh, guys, I'm so embarrassed for my tech. You know, this is whoa, everything's falling.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Brian.
You know, I'm also filming mine from a bunker. I mean, an RV like you. It's just a much nicer RV.
with like real walls and a brick facade and cement foundation.
This is totally easy for me. This is the exact amount of tech and video equipment that I'm used to. This is on par. This is how we slum it, Dan.
All right, well, good. Glad to feel what you feel. So, and then also, Christy, you're joining us from a hotel room in Dallas. So
Yeah,
you're still
I am.
training, which is awesome.
Steve and I are taking this social distancing thing really seriously.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I'm kidding.
but you're still training for Envoy. A lot of people are freaking out, thinking, you know, everything is shutting down, but it's not, is it?
Yeah, I'm still here. I am still training with Envoy. They have not suspended our training class, so everything is still being pushed forward. They've been really great though at the training center. They're taking a lot of precautions, so it's really positive for us so far.
All right, cool. Now it sounds like somebody's getting their microphone eaten, so that'd probably be good not to do. Brian, you're able to join us. I guess the good news for you is that the coronavirus has kind of shut down the FSDO. Is that pretty accurate?
Is that true?
So you're able to join us, you know, rather than going to spend so much quality time with your friends at the FSDO.
Yeah, I'm on lockdown for a whole different reason. I got an anklet. Is that normal? Did everybody get one of those for the virus?
Yeah, it's a corona anklet. Yes. That's it exactly. And Christy's drinking.
I'm drinking.
Yeah, crazy girl.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would actually take questions, but the problem is I was trying to do Facebook on the computer and use my phone to read the questions. So now that you guys are calling me in on my phone, I'm trying to now get my computer over to where I can actually see anybody's questions because I don't right now.
There you go.
Somebody send me the link. Oh, there we go. So let me. Nah, that's not going to work, Christy. Okay. So Brian, why don't you, while I'm trying to figure this out, why don't you fill us in on your new, since they're closing down the testing centers, on your new venture into providing testing for the aviation people?
I feel like it just leveled the playing field because right now nobody can take a test, not just me. So I feel like it's sort of evened it up for everybody. Yeah, so this really interesting thing happened. I was going to go take my instrument written for this because I like the torture. And the morning of my test, I thought what would be really funny would be to post on our local Facebook page, hey, I'm here at the testing center and I got a question that I'm stumped on. Can someone help me? And then I, of course, added, hey, the proctor's coming, everybody be cool.
Yeah, right.
Which I still stand by that fact as a really good joke.
It was a great joke. Brian, we read it. It was a great joke.
Was tagging the testing center in the Facebook post. They really, really frown on that, it turns out. Was Dan talking?
No, I was listening to this great story.
I'm getting texts from people now that are watching this saying, ha, 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 ha.
Well, at least they can hear you. That's
So,
my...
It was me.
I got an email. Last time they called me, but I don't think they liked me as much, so this time they just sent an email. It's a little less personal. And it wasn't them. It was the testing company said I'm barred from taking any exams, which I thought that seemed weird. And so I called them, and they said, "Oh, you cheated." And I didn't know what to make of that. And then I remember I called you, Dan, and I go, "Dan, you're not going to believe this. The testing centers accused me of cheating, and without skipping a beat, you go, it's probably because of that post on Facebook." And I was like, of course it was because of that.
Right, of course.
So then I called the company at which I took the test, and they pretty much told me that they reported me because they didn't wish to be affiliated with my nonsense. So I guess the only problem I really have with that is they knew I didn't cheat, even though they reported me for cheating, anyway, there's a whole different series of issues there. But
Yeah.
I stand by the joke. I shouldn't have tagged the testing center. I've spoken to the guy since. I don't think we're friends by any stretch of the imagination. But we have an understanding. I don't mention his company, and I've asked everybody politely to take all their mean posts down from his company's Facebook page.
And Brian,
maybe they learned something. I don't know. But I took the joke too far. So, but
well,
I haven't heard anything. I've called the FSDO several times, and they said they haven't heard anything. From other sources, I don't think it's a very high priority for them. But I passed the test, so I don't have any other tests that I'm in line to take right now. So that's where I'm at right now.
Well, and what was the name of that company?
I gotta go flying, Dan. Talk to you later.
No. Oh gosh. Okay, well, good. That at least my son, who is in the trailer with me, is able to give me his phone so I could read some questions now, and saved me.
Oh, there's no saving you.
Yeah, there's no saving. Yes, District 4, by the way, has checked in and said hello to us. So, the Hunger Games reference. Thanks you, Brian. The other Brian with a Y. One of the others. It's been definitely
Thank you, cool Brian.
Yeah, it's been a definite Hunger Games kind of situation. Okay, so, and where am I broadcasting from? Well, wouldn't you like to know? I'm not going to tell you. Yeah. All right, so, Christy, what's life been like as an Envoy trainee and living in a hotel? Because it's certainly better than living in an old trailer. Oh, no. I've lost them. Oh, here we go. You're back.
I was going to say,
I'm here.
Go ahead, Christy.
Until it's actually really great because it's preparing me for life. So.
Okay, I'm having trouble getting you.
I can still hear. Brian, are you there?
Okay, I can hear you. It's just my internet. Again, guys, I apologize. This tech is really driving me crazy. It's not my normal comfort level here. It's Brian's comfort. Now Brian's typing. I can see that at least. All right. Christy, somebody asked, Greg Wood asked, how long did it take for each of us to get our privates? Private license, Brian. I better throw that out there real quick.
Yeah.
So,
Certificate, Dan.
and let's start with the longest first. So, Brian, how long did it take for private pilot's license?
Kind of a weird question for me.
Wow, it's max headspace here.
It took me to a lot of regional airports, and so I spent like 8 or 9 months just flying solo to all these airports just because I love to fly, and so I really didn't see.
As you can tell, Brian has started drinking, so there we go.
I was just flying solo for fun because I love
All right.
to fly, and that's all she wrote.
You know, this is almost like a Brian Turner video. It's like all the really funny punchlines were hidden in the bad connection, and at the very end we get the last line. So sorry about that, Brian. Okay, so we don't know anything about how long it took for Brian to get his private, but let's try Christy. Christy, how about you? Private certificate. And Christy's gone too. Okay, so for me, it took me 7 months. I was ready to do my check ride at the end of the 5th month, and we got rained out, and I couldn't reschedule for another 6 weeks for the DPE that we were using. All right, Christy, you're back. What about you? 5 months. So we resorted to smoke signals now. 5.5. Okay, so that to answer your question, then it took me 6, 7 months, Christy 5.5, and Brian it took. Oh, there we go. A while. Very good. Thank you. It says a while. So, oh, that's great. All right. So anyway, yes, and Brian, did you tell Dan about the F-18s? Yes, actually, he texted me before he posted the video, and I told him, Brian, this is going to be the biggest thing ever for you, and he said, nah, and he just released a 1-minute video that would get him absolutely no revenue whatsoever, and Brian can't respond because Brian's video is connecting. So, there he is, and then he puts, and this says, I can't read it, there we go, $3. He's up to $3, guys, on that F-18 video. So he's gotten like 40,000 views, and he's gotten $3 because he made it 1 minute. There's a lesson there, Brian. 4945. I don't know what you're saying. Okay, good. All right.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and just for clarifying on the comments, F-18s, not F-16s. The Air Force and the Navy getting pretty tense about that kind of stuff. So anyway, all right. So next up, you guys are from Texas. Why aren't you wearing cowboy hats? I thought everyone in Texas wears a Stetson. Yeah, okay, that's a plant question. Brian, why aren't you wearing your cowboy hat?
I don't own one.
He doesn't own one, so there you go. Somebody in Texas does not own one. I, however, do own one. I own a really good quality one because I actually direct for TV a rodeo show, so I actually have to play that role. Christy, what about you?
I don't own a cowboy hat or a cowgirl hat. I also do not own cowboy or cowgirl boots.
And I actually own boots as well because you kind of have to. What's really funny about shooting the TV show that I do for the rodeo, we are required to have a cowboy hat, required to have a long sleeve dress shirt, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So we're actually, the rodeo requires a lot of stuff. Okay, somebody wants to know, Brian, have you done any wheelies lately? And too bad you couldn't set the world record, by the way.
That's a trigger word for Brian.
I know it is. That's why. That's why I put it out there.
How bad is the sound? Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you much better.
No, I haven't. I called Guinness just to see if that was the thing, if I could get a world record for riding the longest wheelie. And then, like, 2 weeks after I upload the video, this guy uploads this video of him breaking the Guinness Book of World Records riding a wheelie in a plane. Fine. I'll find some other record to break.
Yeah, maybe the most waves by an F-18 by a little tiny Grumman. That would be a good one.
And it's going to be easier if I just go with most trips to the FSDO, Dan. You got to think small.
Yeah. And by the way, going back to the cowboy hats, Steve W. from Lantana says, apparently I'm not allowed to own either, according to somebody. So, Brian is saying, subscribe to my channel. I like his subliminal message. And by the way, we are...
You didn't put the name of your channel up.
Oh, that's perfect.
So.
That's what he does. He posts a video that gets 45,000 views, but doesn't put a bug in the corner to say, go to Taking Off. You know, so everybody, his channel is called Taking Off. Make sure you subscribe, hit notifications, and all that kind of stuff. Oh, wait, Brian, we can't hear you at all now.
It's not super smart, Dan.
Okay, so Brian's channel is just plain silly, and really, guys, you need to go and subscribe to Brian. He's feeling like this big now because we used to have the same level of subscriber base. So I want you to help him feel a little bit better, especially in this shut down time. So go and subscribe to Just Plain Silly on YouTube. Don't do it right now. We're watching a video. We're watching a video of Just Plain Silly Brian Turner and Christy Wong. All right, let me go. Brian is a mute.
Wait, I was gonna say Carl, fly with the guys. You have a super typo in your comment. Oh, there it goes. Okay, there we go. He fixed it.
I saw oops. What did Carl
There
say?
we go.
What did Carl say?
He said to subscribe to the channel, but he spelled his channel incorrectly.
Everyone's going to subscribe to that other channel now, Carl.
Fight eat the guys.
Yeah, Brian Turner has taking off envy. That's funny.
I have so many types of envy.
You're right. Request for a future in the hangar topic: owning a private aircraft for business and pleasure. Get an accountant and some different business
I can
types.
talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Christy.
I own an aircraft that was actually threefold. I owned it for pleasure, of course. I owned it for training to get all my ratings, and I used it a little bit to travel in my previous career. So I got the trifecta.
Okay. Now, when you got your aircraft, did you have to get an accountant or attorney to figure things out as how you're going to do it,
Yes.
either personal? So how did you
Yes.
find that accountant and or attorney?
So Steve and I, we hired an accountant, and we set up the airplane in its own LLC, and all of our taxes and everything for the airplane, everything basically for the airplane is done separately through our LLC, because
Send me the link.
it was just too muddy, when you
Text
put our
me.
personal stuff in there. So we paid them a handsome amount of money. They take care of everything for us. I couldn't even begin to tell you what they do.
Got it.
They are magic, and I love them, though. So shout out to the accountant of Long Direction LLC.
All right, very good. Now, do you think somebody has to have an attorney? Did you do an attorney? I'm sorry, I was busy looking at stuff. You may have answered that.
No, we didn't hire an attorney specifically for that. We've received legal advice, but we didn't actually hire somebody to say manage this. So far, we've been okay with just the accountant. We feel that if there was any accounting, there never has been. We've never, had any issues. They've been wonderful. So we've never even had to go that route yet.
All right, cool. All right. And just by the way, you guys are wondering, Brian Turner, Just Plain Silly, did indeed click that button. I guess it throws $2 at me, and that's why he gets another Just Plain Silly endorsement there. Every time we say that, he has to click the $2 button. Just kidding. Or maybe not. He's clicking. Before too long, Brian Turner will be broke. So, what's Brownie Brittle? Is that cat food? Okay, this is one of my guilty pleasures. Sheila G's Brownie Brittle. I love it. Anyway, there's that. Also have a puzzle habit, as you guys might see. If you've ever been to my studios, up in my office on the big table, I generally will always have a puzzle that's in the process of being done. I love puzzles. Okay. Oh, good. Somebody subscribed to Brian's channel with an I because they felt bad for him. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Yeah, and Brian with a Y at Experimental Aircraft Channel. Now we know what to get you for Christmas. As a matter of fact, I had an employee who flew in the plane a lot, Hannah with no H, if you remember her. And when she left us, she wanted to head back north where she's from. And she took a picture of and had a jigsaw puzzle made of that. And one of the best gifts ever. And
That's cool.
yeah, it took me forever to do it too. I wish I had shot the picture differently to break up the all the whites in that. It was right after we landed in the polar vortex up in Nebraska somewhere, and it was snow and ice, and it was a really cool picture. Anyway, so that was fun.
Okay, we actually have a legitimate question on here that I would like to address.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm really interested in aviation. What steps should I take to get me into piloting a plane after high school?
Oh, I missed that one. Hey, David. Okay. That's a great question, and we just posted a video from In the Hangar this past Friday that walked through all those steps with young Brooke Schimmel, who is just out of high school, and what she wants to do. And in addition to that, Christy and I taped an episode of In the Hangar we're going to release soon of a high school group that actually built a plane as part of their semester, and that's really cool. But Christy, what are some steps that David can take to get him into piloting a plane, and maybe explain what the rules are as far as age requirements and all that?
Okay, so my first comment is, if applicable, if you have the familial support, you don't have to wait until after high school. I actually know a lot of it pilots while they were still in high school. You have to be at least 16 years of age before you can solo the airplane, and you have to be at least 17 to get your actual private pilot. But if you're 17 and ready to go, I say go for it.
Yeah, so in case the audio is kind of bad, 16 to be able to solo, and 17 you can get your license, your certificate, as they call it. And there are quite a few people that, as soon as they turn, they schedule the check ride on their 17th birthday. It's not uncommon, not unheard of. So David, go get it. All right.
I have to interrupt. That is the best comment ever. The puzzle wouldn't have taken as long if you ever did a pre-flight.
Wait. What? Where?
Jeffrey G. Jensen.
Dang, son. I think we should give
Puzzle would have taken as long as if you ever.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, that is funny. Hey, what is a pre-flight, by the way?
I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah, that's right. You're a Cirrus pilot. Pirate.
I feel like I should look down if I'm talking to Christy. On the video, she's below.
yeah, and then Christy should look up.
Brady, then go.
Yeah, you're like to the side of me. I'm just like, hey, what's up, Brian?
No, but look at the
No.
video. You need to look up to talk to me.
Yeah, you got to look up.
Yeah, see?
Hey.
I'm looking at you, Christy.
Hey.
Okay, that's pretty funny. Okay, so let's go back. So Hayward qualified for microlight pilot license, and 2 weeks ago did his first solo on flight on fixed wings. Well, congratulations on that. That's very cool. And I guess you're in South Africa. So we've got Argentina, South Africa, Philippines, all coming in to this. That's pretty cool. To me, I love the international aspect. And one of my dream bucket list things to do would be to take an epic taking off series where we fly Lola to, like, Europe.
Wait, why Lola? How come not the Wong Warrior?
Can the Wong Warrior make it across to
Maybe.
Iceland? Okay, we can do a flight of 2.
Yeah. Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah. So, I do want to take Lola across the channel. That'd be really cool. I know 210s have done it. Yeah, Brady Bunch meets Hollywood Squares. Okay, so yeah, I keep missing some of these better comments and questions. All right. So, Christy, let's go back to, private pilots are asking, is it okay to go out right now in the United States and take the plane up? Didn't you take the Wong Warrior out?
So, yes, the last 2 days, not today, but today and the day before, I went flying.
Okay. All right. I was getting a phone call from family member. Uh-oh. Okay, so you are flying, and you have no trouble going up and flying.
Not yesterday and not the day before. I didn't have any issues with it. So the county that we live in did issue a shelter in place type order that went into effect today. But my understanding is that you can still go as long as you're not going to public businesses and whatnot. If I just drove straight from my house straight to my hangar, didn't touch anybody or anything outside of that, it would be okay. That's my understanding of it. I've known people that actually went out. I mean, I saw a lot of people flying today. So.
Well, I know that one guy went out flying and got intercepted by some F-18s. Was that due to the coronavirus lockdown?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, which finger? Okay, it was the okay finger. All right. So, yeah, there goes Brian again, losing the connection. Who's yelling at you?
I went the other day. I flying like 2 days ago, and going out because I hadn't flown in a while. I was kind of tired of being in my house with my family. I was tired of being in my house cooped up with my work. And so what I did was I just go out and fly. I love my family, some of them. And so what I did was I went flying, and then I was like, I wanted to fuel the plane, but my airport, the fuel pumps were in some situation where it's just trickling out. To heck with it. And I was like, I should fill the tanks up before I put it away, so I'll pop over to Alliance, which is only 4 miles away. And as I'm landing, these 18s are, I guess, poised to take off or whatever. And so I passed them on the ground, and then in the air, they passed me like I was sitting still, but I was filming. So I happened to have the camera out there and got some really great shots. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is justplainsilly.com, if you go there's a great video of me losing to a couple of F-18s. It was awesome. I called Dan like a little and uploaded it in the wrong way.
I got the text messages and was like, wait, you did what?
Oh, I know. He was so excited, and I'm like...
people I go to whenever I have any kind of news in my life.
Yeah. Well, you were so excited in your text, and I'm like, this is... That should be a flag for you. If you're excited about a video you just shot, probably going to be a good one, and you should make sure you get it out there properly.
Well, my emotions kind of roller coaster a little bit when I make a video. I'm excited about all of them until the moment I upload them, and then it's just dread and embarrassment. Do you go through that, Dan, as a video maker?
I'll plead the fifth on that one.
Okay.
I'm not even going to comment on that. My favorite part, though, of your video with the F-18s was when they did the wing rock.
Oh, I know.
That was
How
cool.
awesome was that?
You seriously.
That was
were
awesome.
Acknowledged. Like that's what I took away from it.
Yeah, that was.
My brother flew faster than like 50 miles an hour. We probably could have done like a formation thing, but
And they probably would have done it. So, somebody keeps asking, am I in the bathroom? Let me clarify that real quick. So no. No.
My bathroom's huge.
No, I'm not. We were spring break camping in travel trailers when this thing and shelter in place happened. So we're just sheltering in place in travel trailers. This is actually the kitchen of the travel trailer. See, kitchen kind of thing. Look, it's got an old TV with a VHS player there. I just want to say that that's how old this trailer is. So because I went back into town, we wanted to make sure that that I keep separate here for a little bit, just because we don't want to get any other of the family members that are more susceptible. Anyway, so we're not in the bathroom. I just want to say we're not in the bathroom. No. So, okay, all right. So, Smitty says he has the same setup in his house. What, a travel trailer in your living room? So, so Jay Wolf Pilot is watching too. Hey Jay, appreciate you coming, and congratulations, you got was it your private? And you just the other day. So in fact, check rides are still happening, which is very cool. So glad to have you here. What other questions? Yeah, this trailer is older.
I kind of have a real question.
Okay.
So
I don't believe you.
For the people who are watching this on the stream and who are commenting, so we're in North Dallas, and as of midnight last night, we were on and I know probably coronavirus isn't really what we want to talk about, but as of midnight, we're all basically stay in your house unless it's essential business. Is that for everybody? Is that kind of the same thing, or is it not gotten everywhere yet? What's you guys' lock-in situation? I'm very curious about that.
That's a really good question, and I don't know if the guy is still on from Italy or not, but I would be interested to know other countries. Italy, Argentina, Philippines. Is it a government-mandated lockdown where you like they welded your door shut, or is it more like most of the United States, the government has said, shelter in place. They're liking to say that instead of lockdown or quarantine.
Nebraska. Use caution, but do what we want.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that from Nebraska. And Jay, yes, it was your solo, not your
they're
other.
Shut down. My company that I work for, we got an office in PA, and they had to shut it down. I guess the entire state just went on lockdown.
Wow.
The entire state?
That's what we were told. We just shut our plant up there.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, what I do appreciate about the United States is that it's supposed to be government at the local level first, then at the state level, and then at the national. And I really do think that it's the local should be making most of those decisions. But again, I guess national needs to step in at times too. So, yeah, okay. California is supposedly shelter in place, and by the way, shelter in place is such a nicer term than quarantine or shut down or whatever. What do you got going there, Brian? Is there a concert?
Yeah, Brian, what's going on?
I don't want to seem rude on the video saying something like, "Hey kids, be quiet," so I'm not going to.
So,
They're watching the stream too. They know.
oh, they do. Yeah, they're giving you grief for it.
So we,
You let them watch this kind of stuff, huh?
They're not allowed to watch my channel.
we have somebody here from Colorado who's checking in from Denver. Hey, Denver.
And by the way, Brian's kids, if you're watching, you should go and make your own YouTube channel. Put your name out there, get it out there.
Seriously, no. Do as I say, not as I do.
So no YouTube channels for Brian's kids. Oh, that's so sad. He's such a harsh
YouTube,
father.
No TikTok, no Instagram. I'm a tyrant.
They barely know what the internet is.
And as the way it should be for the kids. I agree. All right, Christopher Moore, thinking about starting ground school while we're locked down. Who should I go with?
Gold Seal.
Gold Seal for Brian Turner is who he recommends, and Gold Seal is a good ground school. Christy, what do you think?
There's actually several different options out there. So instead of saying which one should you go with, I'm just going to kind of run through some of the options. Gold Seal is definitely one of the good products out there. You've got, of course, King Schools. They do a good ground school. It's been, tried and tested throughout the decades as being pretty good. M0A is another one that's pretty good. Or you could just be a freak like me and just buy all the books and study it on your own. That's basically what I did. I used the ASA, and I downloaded all of the books off of the FAA's website because all of those materials are available free to everybody through the FAA's website. Now, it's not going to be a hardbound copy. You're going to have to download it to an iPad or whatever, but it's free. And so anytime there's an update, instead of going and buying the updated copy, you just download the updated version.
Yeah, and so I do think that if you're shut in and you're trying to work towards a certificate or rating or whatever, now is a great time to do that. If you're sheltering in place, then it's a great time to catch up. I mean, I've been able to catch up on puzzles. Actually, but more seriously, I've caught up on a lot of editing. I've actually finished editing 3 in the hangars, 2 taking off videos. If you know, I do 1 flying video, 1 in the hangar every week, and so we're queuing them up and getting them all ready. So lots of videos coming. Chris, you'll like this. I edited Deanna Wallace's last night.
Yay!
And
awesome. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. Deanna Wallace is a
Shout out to
ferry
Deanna
pilot with
Wallace.
Joe Casey's company, and she flew by herself a King Air 90 all the way from India across the Middle East and across the North Atlantic to bring it back to the United States, and it was right after the Soleimani thing. So she was one of the last American flights through. Nothing like flying an unregistered airplane through that zone during that time. Deanna Wallace is definitely a baller pilot.
Baller pilot.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, there's someone who's asked a question on here a couple of times.
Oh, about the 210. Yeah, I was going to get to that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure he's got a legit question.
Yeah, so the question was asked about my 210 and how it's affected by the wing spar. Mine is a November model. It's a 1980. So it's one of the later wing spars. And because of that, it was the model before mine. They put a foam protectorant around the wing spar, which actually what they found is it actually acts like a sponge and brings in moisture. And so because of that, those planes have a much stricter wing spar deal. My mechanic, very good mechanic, John Effinger, one of the best for the Centurion. If you ever have one, he knows that stuff, and he always looks at it, and he really took it apart and did the inspection in our last annual in December, and our wing spar passed with flying colors. We're not required, I believe we're not required to do the eddy current on my year, it being one of the later model ones. So so that's the answer to that question. It's funny, one of the two very popular videos have been the two wing spar videos, the one on the Piper wing spar and then the one on the Centurion. And what really surprised me out there, you guys can maybe tell me why, because I don't get it. So Piper wing spar affected this many airplanes. The Centurion wing spar affects this many. Yet I probably had more viewers on the Centurion than the Piper. Chrissy, is that just because the Cessna is a superior plane to the Piper?
No, Dan, absolutely not. In fact, I would go on record and say that that's the actual opposite of what you're saying.
Oh, opposite. Oh, okay. So, how was the Warrior affected by the Piper wing spar AD?
So my Warrior has not been adversely affected. We sat down with our A&P. You guys have probably seen him on previous videos, Bill Goebel, and he walked through it, and we were able to determine that our Warrior, well, first of all, I always get them checked anyway, every year during annual inspections and whatnot. And so far, so good. The only thing we haven't done is just fully taken it apart. But as of right now, that's not a necessity. So based on the algorithm that they came up with.
And it's a pretty complicated, it's almost like a quarterback rating algorithm. You have to kind of really know what you're doing to figure that out.
And it's pretty intense. I mean, you literally have to like take apart the entire airplane, like the wings, and very, very complicated. And I hope we don't have to do that, but if we do, we will,
All right, so Drew asked, I'm working on my instrument. Any recommendation? And I'll just throw that to Brian, since you're working on your instrument and you already have your written test passed, amazingly enough. Brian, any recommendations?
I've passed it twice. I'm an instrument expert.
Right.
You're double I now.
I am. That's how that works. That's exactly how that works. So I'm going to start teaching that as well.
So Drew's asking for any recommendations or tips. He's doing the ground school and written before he's even started. Christy, you have any tips, or Brian?
I like, so the whole reason I kind of got hooked up with Goldfield is I know the owner of the company from just online, and he called me up one day and said, would you be willing to test some software? We're working on this instrument training program. I was like, yeah, let me take the course. And so I took the course, and I said I like it. Here's the things that I like about it. Here's, whatever. And then I said, well, I should probably I'd never planned on getting my instrument rating. In 7 years of flying now, I've never been stranded anywhere. But so I thought, well, in order to really validate the software, I should go take the test. I took the test, and I got an 83 on it. And so I said, oh, it's pretty good. And then...
was that before or after you cheated?
Go ahead?
Was that before or after you cheated that you got the 93?
No, I had to cheat the second time. That's
okay.
Don't I'm going to get in trouble.
Well, sorry, won't get that confused.
No. So,
and where did you take the written? Where did you take the written?
Then I wasn't really wanting to get my instrument rating, but then the test was coming to the point where it was going to expire, and I started feeling like an idiot for letting it expire. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I should go get the rating. And so it expired. And then I went and did the gold seal thing again and took the rating. And then I've been flying with this girl. And my dad is also working on his instrument rating, which is extremely helpful. He and I go out and fly together and take turns with the Foggles. We sign each other's logbooks. It's great. But so we're pretty unorthodox about it because we're sort of wheelie-neely doing it. I mean, we'll both get it done, but I'm not on a strict regimented, I'm flying every week with the same instructor kind of thing. I'm just sort of doing it probably how Christy did her studying for her written, where you just, I don't want to use the word self-taught because that sounds silly. I'm going to use that in a later video, though. But we're very unregimented about it. So I wouldn't do what I'm doing. I would find someone, honestly, for flight training, I would find someone and I would do very consistent. If you can do every week or twice a week or something that's really, really, because what they say is true. If you go 3 or 4 weeks without flying, you're just going to take the prior lesson over again. So if you're going to do something like this, you're going to waste a lot of money doing it the way I'm doing it and take a lot of lessons over and over again. So she's probably the one to talk to for real.
Well, Christy, and before you start going, I mean, somebody I forgot who it was now. Back up. Recommended to him that he should just fly a lot of cross countries and things like that. What do you think? What's your advice?
So, I mean, the one thing that Brian did say that I absolutely agree with is that if you're going to ski, you need to be somewhat consistent. You don't have to be regimented, but you do have to be consistent. That's what I did during my training. It wasn't always like, oh, we're going to fly Thursday at 5 p.m. It wasn't like that because there's weather and schedules and life just gets in the way. But I would be very consistent. Make sure that you make a plan to fly at least twice a week, whether you're working on your private, your instrument, or your commercial. Minimum twice a week. If you can fly more, great. Again, weather is going to get in the way, but just try to stick to that. Try to make it work because you're going to wind up getting it done sooner, which is going to cost less. Otherwise, I mean, you're just going to spin your wheels the whole time.
Yeah, and I think that flying a lot of cross countries is really good, and I think that one of the things I really appreciated when I was getting my private is you got to have your 3 hours of hood time, and I had an instructor that when we had instrument IMC conditions, he went ahead and filed, and he gave me a lesson in the clouds, and that probably was the thing that said I'm going into my instrument right after this. I love flying IMC. To me, it's a thrill. So.
Brian, on the other hand, did not like flying in the clouds. So.
No, you guys are just being mean to me. It was fun. It was a little bit of fun. It was a tiny bit. It wasn't fun. It was fun. It's fine.
Which, by the way, for those of you who are watching, I do want to say about the comments. Fly with the guys. We've got experimental aircraft channel.
Experimental airport.
We've got all these guys. I have to say, all these other YouTubers. We brought everybody down when we did last month. We did the latest season of In the Hangar. We shot 35 shows, and one of the highlights of it was Saturday evening. We had all these guys on, and I get to look at this. I've been editing that video, and I can't wait to post that one. But we've got 3 Brians with Wise, all of them with Wise. We've got Carl Hancock, we've got Martin Polly, we've got Josh Flowers, and was there anybody else I'm missing?
Christy.
Anyway, and there Christy. We had Christy. Anyway,
that girl.
So some of these guys are the ones who are blowing up our channel here with the comments, which is great and it's funny. Brian Wallstrom, I don't know if you saw it a minute ago. He's like, I'm going to blow up your phone with text, So fortunately, he only did it that one time. I shouldn't even mention that because now everybody's going to text me. All right. So Christy, who? Yeah.
What the heck?
And then Experimental Aircraft Channel wants to know if Steve has started to build his RV-8 yet.
Steve should be on in the chat.
He is.
There was actually a couple of questions directed to him.
And he answered them.
Yeah. Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he did. So,
Steve has. I have officially given Steve the blessing to begin looking. We're trying to decide right now whether he should build or buy. So that's kind of where we're at. And, we're making all the decisions together and everything, but obviously this is going to be his, pet project. So.
Christy, after this, will you call my wife and tell her whatever your secret is?
So what it is actually, if you want to know the God's honest truth, I started getting more and more flights in RVs and saw how much fun it was.
All right, and then Jan asked, how do you think the coronavirus and the effect it's having on air travel might impact the pilot shortage? I actually led off this, and let me hit it again for those that are watching now. So some people are concerned that the pilot shortage is now over because, and then we'll go back to the days, over 5 years ago when it was really hard to get into a 121 operation. I don't think that's going to happen. I talked to a senior captain at one of the 121s, and he said what's happening is all the major carriers are offering early retirement and all sorts of things to try to reduce their payroll right now. And I think that as the economy and as the world recovers from this virus, that you'll find we have even less pilots than we did coming into the virus. And so if anything, we're going to be hurting even more for pilots. So if you are thinking about becoming an ATP pilot, I think that dream is still very much viable and still very much alive. I mean, look at Christy. She's at a hotel right now as she goes into one of the regionals that feeds into a major, and they're still training. So yeah. So yeah, look at Christy's hotel room there.
That's my mock pit.
Her mock pit. That's great. And I see on all social media, Chris, you keep talking about the flow. What is, for us GA pilots, I mean, I can guess what that means, but you guys talk about the flow. What is that?
So, as it stands right now, Envoy is one of American Airlines' 3 wholly owned airlines, which means that American Airlines, wholly owns Envoy as its regional carrier. And there is a guaranteed flow, meaning that based on seniority and the needs of American Airlines, pilots from Envoy are guaranteed to flow directly into American Airlines. So.
Okay. All right. And then new questions. So somebody was asking, Aviation Blake asks, whose P210 is that Dan flies sometimes, and why that instead of Lola? I only flew it once, actually. It was one trip. Took off in the fog, got a lot of flack for that, but that's okay. And I went and then picked up my son for the holidays and flew him back. So it was one out and back in, and I made 2 videos out of it. It belongs to a friend of mine, and he was nice enough to let me use it because Lola was in for the annual. The annual where we found out the wing spar is in great condition. So, alrighty. What other questions do you guys have? This has been a lot of fun. Reporting here from a bathroom, apparently. And then Christy, or whoever's eating the microphone, should probably stop doing that.
That would be Brian. Brian is eating the microphone.
Oh. And Brian, get your own YouTube channel. Get your own YouTube channel.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Not loud.
So, all right. So, all right, guys. I really enjoyed bringing this to you. We should probably let Christy get back to her flow and her mock pit. And we should let Brian get back to whatever in the world Brian does. And so
We gotta go swimming.
Is that Brooke?
That's Brooke. Brooke, can you say hi to Miss Christy? Aloha.
Hey.
oh,
I'm supposed to go jump in the pool.
yeah, and yes, we're all wearing pants. I'll say that now, at least from my side. That's really funny. But anyway, all right, guys. I really enjoyed this. Brian, Christy, thank you for taking time. And everybody, stay safe out there. Practice that social distancing, and let's all get better soon. So, thanks, guys. See ya.
Thank you, Dan.
Let's see if I can figure out how to turn this off.